practice they've had? Have you had some teams that practice terribly but put up amazing performances, and vice versa of that?
I think there's some truth to that, but it's not the absolute truth.
Just seeing a team 3 times, like in a row, possibly 4. Just like the possibilities when it comes to the outcome, would that change anything? And just having to see a team that often?
No, I don't think it changes anything. We've already seen them 1, 2, 4 times this year, so why not another 3? I don't think it changes anything. I'm not sure either team is going to try to reinvent itself in the next 3 games. Both teams have been pretty consistent down the stretch of the season, so not a whole lot of secrets out there anymore. So it's now up to the players to decide who gets to advance.
Steve, going into playoffs last year and this year for you personally, how was it different? Because your first year, and as a second year, how was it different for you?
Not much. I think what's at stake, everybody knows. I think the scenario, the obvious scenario that we are possibly not at home for a couple of the rounds is different than last year. Other than that, it feels the same.
How do you feel about where you guys are right now and how you guys are heading into this?
Good. I think mentally in a good space. I think we are also just, as far as creating chances and defending the majority of chances from teams, and we're in a good spot. I think we're in a clear positive there. I think the only thing that needs to be improved is the effectiveness in front of the goal, which I'm sure that will happen Saturday. Mentally, I think we're in a good spot too. Players are hungry, which is really important for teams who are trying to defend a title.
Been in a final earlier this year. You've been in some really tough games that the team didn't come through in when you clearly wanted to. Is there any kind of lasting impact in terms of psyche?
I don't know. I would say no. I think every experience you have as an athlete can help you moving forward. And so I don't see why that would be seen as a negative.
How would you feel about playing Vancouver 3 times? This is, why are we playing 3 times?
You're asking the wrong person. I think you guys know me well enough to probably know my real opinion on the matter.
It does seem, we went through this, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, or however many years it's been, and I thought we got past it. It seems like a money grab that doesn't make sense competitively. Don't want to say anything publicly.
I've said enough this year. Somebody else's turn.
About Mario, how have you seen him? It seems like you guys wanted that, center forward position as a starter to be there, and he had, I guess, some struggles maybe to adapt to the style. Or how have you seen his overall progression?
I don't think there was any struggles with him adapting or integrating process. Very likable person, smart guy, understood the model right away, did his homework before he came, fit in right away. You don't get the looks and chances he's had if you don't understand the model or if you don't fit in. For Mario, it's quite simple for any 9. You just got to finish your chances. And he's had not as much fortune in front of the goal as maybe he's hoped and we've hoped for, but there's still a couple more important games to go. Is
there any element to that you need to work on, or that you are working on?
Yeah, sure. It's repetition. Part of it's repetition. And part of it is just up to the player to make plays. That's why he's out there and not somebody else.
How about Oliveira? What is he from?
Yeah, I think he came back from international break a little fatigued this weekend. We saw in Vancouver, which is normal. It's an extremely long trip for the boys from South America and the games they play, and it's just not easy. But I think when he's healthy and fresh, he brings us a lot of energy, a lot of thread in behind, and hopefully, some hard numbers as well regarding or along the lines of assists and goals. And I think we're improving there on the training field. We're seeing more effectiveness out of him, and that's the next step for any young attacker. And he's slowly but surely figuring that out.
How's he improving?
Good. I think he's solid as always. Really important for our group, keeping the back and front connected and making good decisions and keeping us in line. And he's a leader as well, so he's very important. I think the past couple of weeks, his football as well has improved, and helped us progress the ball forward in a faster and more direct manner.
Steve, on the desire piece, last year you guys were looking for your first MLS Cup with the club. You've done that. How do you compare the desire of going after your first versus defending and then trying to do it again?
I think there's the biggest difference is there's uncertainty, and uncertainty can motivate. It can also hamper a group or an individual, and I think that was the case last year. It helped motivate us, but this year the group knows it can do it, and the tools are there, and it's now just a matter of performing, and that uncertainty is gone. So it depends how you view it. Does it help motivate one, or does it take the motivation away? In our case, for right now, I don't think it's either or. I think this group knows on a good day we can beat everybody, and now it's just a matter of having 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 good days in a row.
You needed 3 last.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move to questions on Zoom. Go ahead, Michele.
We understand that getting
Hi, Coach. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Since you got to the league last year, everything it's been like first time for everything. So this year it's first time getting to the playoffs as a defending champion. Do you think that's an advantage? What are you feeling about it? Do you think it's something that you can use in your favor? Are they disadvantages? How are you experimenting and feeling that first time on that? Thank you.
I think what we've kind of harped on all year is staying hungry as a group, still trying to improve as a group, and just keep going forward, not just to rest on accolades and titles from the past, but trying to win more. And I've seen that this year. We came up short in a couple games, a couple finals, but that's just the way it goes sometimes in the sport and any sport. So, but to answer your question, the hunger and the passion and the want to have more is there, and it's prevalent every day in training and when I speak to guys individually or as a group. So not concerned there. This group wants to win another title, and you'll see answers this weekend and the weekends to follow.
Thank you.
You go ahead, Max.
Thanks, Crystal. Hey, Steve. A question. This past game against Vancouver, you had 9 guys on the bench that have all played some kind of significant minutes this season. Obviously, it's something you would have liked more so in the regular season when you're getting games every 3 days. You have some space now, but how valuable is it to have that, and how challenging is it for you to manage playing time over this playoff run?
I think playoffs is sort of managing minutes is over. It's using players to the best of their ability for the good of the group, and players who play at that moment in time are the ones that we feel are the right answers for that particular moment in the game. Being able to have almost an entire bench physically able to start tomorrow if we needed that is the challenge throughout the season. I think we've done a good job of preparing the players. So whoever we call on, we'll be ready.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Go ahead, Andy.
Thanks, Crystal. Hey, Steve. 2 quick ones for me. I know fatigue has been something talked about all season. I just want to know, in terms of health, how is the team leading up? I think maybe Kellen was a little bit of a question mark in those last few games. Want to know how he was doing. And then 2, In terms of penalties, I know you guys probably approach this differently, but it is a possibility with the best of three. What is that approach? Do you guys kind of see it as the game goes on and then kind of think about it then? Is it something you prepare about during the week to kind of try to think about it beforehand? And I know Ryan said at Campeones Cup, you guys plan to win in 90, which I'm sure is always the goal. But as that being a reality, how do you guys kind of approach that?
No, we always prepare and practice. So this will be no different. Last year was no different. The Campeones Cup was no different. Champions League final was no different. Yeah, there's always preparation and premeditated thoughts and methods we use. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But of course, there's preparation.
And how was the team in terms of health, especially specifically with Kellen?
Sorry. Everybody's great. Everybody's ready to go. This gaming in Vancouver was the first time all season everybody was available, which is kind of standard. Come playoffs, everybody wants to play. So, but it was a good feeling for us to be able to have an entire roster available. And that continues for this game.
Okay, last question on Zoom from Justin Ruderman.
Hi, Coach. Building on Michele's question, you talked about, throughout the season that there was a target on the LAFC's back as defending champions. Do you feel that maybe ramps up a little bit come the playoffs? And how do you kind of approach that, knowing that teams maybe have a little bit of extra motivation to beat LAFC as the defending champions?
I don't think it ramps up in playoffs. I actually think it gets easier. And I do think that's been, a little less of a target due to the amount of games we've played. We've lost more this than we lost last year. So if anything, I think it's less than it probably was at the beginning of the season. So maybe in some people's eyes, we are no longer the clear favorites, and that might be true. That may not be true. We'll find out. But I think important for us is we know we can beat anybody when we're on a good day and we are focused and fresh and ready to go. So that's important for us right now. But I don't feel like the target has grown. And in playoffs where it's you kind of do or you don't, I think if you have that added pressure to groups, that's when nerves start to come around. And hopefully that could be an advantage for us because there's no need for nerves for us. We achieved both objectives last year. And this is like icing on the cake. So nerves shouldn't be a problem for us.
Justin kind of asked my question, but mine was going to be a little different. And that's that might there have been more pressure and maybe more attention to you last year, given the season that you had and coming in as Sport Shield champion, something that Cincinnati might be facing this year.
It's possible. But I particularly always feel the same amount of pressure. This is my own personal thoughts now as a coach, as a player was the same. Any game that I was involved in kind of felt the same amount of pressure, no more in bigger games or bigger events than others. No. And I don't have an explanation why. I think we would need a psychologist to help figure that out. But that's just the way I am. And you'd have to ask everybody in the building if it's different. But I don't have the sense that it's any more or less. The pressure we put on ourselves last year was an internal one, and it's the same this year. So we're always striving to maximize our potential as a group, and that's enough pressure as it is. And anything coming from the outside, we do a good job of blending out.
Does Max's performances in the penalties in Vancouver influence how you think about what you may do with the matches in your time? John obviously brought in the Campeones Cup, so what does that make you think about Max's prospects for staying in goal?
All performances, whether it's a field player or a goalkeeper, are tidbits of information we use to make decisions, and that's how we base all of our decisions. We gather all the information and make the best possible decision in that moment in time. And we'll use, obviously, those two moments to make the next decisions.
So you would say it's undetermined on how you handle penalties at this point?
Yeah. What happens then at that moment in time, I would say we have a pretty good idea what we're going to do. I wouldn't say it's undetermined, but things change dramatically in this sport, as you guys know, any second of the game. And I have an idea what we'll do. But again, nothing is set in stone until we get to that moment.
If you share that idea with them beforehand, you talk to them, this is where I'm leaning, but hey, anything can happen, or
With who?
the keeper.
With the players? No.
Steve?
Thank you, guys.